All right, so we're currently. I just went live. I'm just waiting to receive the phone call. As soon as it starts ringing, then we'll get to it. Today we got Jesse Nava and we got David Lopez coming in, and the topic for today is gonna be forks in the road. Definitely looking forward, to this topic. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot of interesting points of view, POVs, and there it is. All right, let's go. I'm a little bit late, but better late than never, right?
This call is now being recorded. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un preso recluido en de la prisión estatal de Sentinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello,
Hello?
Jesse, David.
What's up, James?
Hey, how's it going? How you guys been?
Up?
That's right.
Hey, all right. We're doing all right, man. It was crazy, and the craziest thing happened. I woke up this morning and realized, damn, I've almost been in prison for 14 years. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was all bad. That was a terrible realization. Toss and turn. Cried on Jesse's shoulder a little bit. He had to slap me. He had to slap me a couple times. Jimmy.
And I was there singing, "Lean on me."
Yeah.
Hey,
call my wife. Jimmy, come get your husband. Yeah.
hey, you know what?
Shivering in the corner.
You know what's the worst feeling? The worst feeling is when you're incarcerated and you dream that you're incarcerated and you wake up and you're incarcerated. That's the worst feeling ever.
Oh man, that's horrible.
That's horrible.
That's horrible because then you wake up and you're like, "Damn, I'm still here. I thought it was a dream."
Hey, no, I've had
It's a nightmare.
I've had some crazy dreams, man, where I'm on the run and or I just got busted and I'm barely incarcerated, and then I wake up and I'm like, damn, thank God, I've already been down for a long time, Yeah, the shit isn't just,
It's like, damn, I hope I didn't get busted again.
Yeah, yep. Last thing I want to do is get arrested again.
There's nothing where I used to tell fools that all the time before, like the dudes that were coming in and out. I used to be like, man, I only had to get my heart broken one time. I feel bad for you guys, so you guys keep coming back.
Mm-hmm. I was one of them.
Hey, let me ask you guys, how often, when you guys dream, how often do you dream that you guys are all out and about in the free world?
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
More so now. Before, I didn't dream about the streets very much because it wasn't a reality for me. So I'm assuming that all my thoughts and all my energy was consumed by this place. But like now that I know I'm going home soon, and now that I know that my freedom is tangible and it's a reality, because I fall asleep at night thinking about things that I'm going to do, out there, and I'm already planning and preparing myself for what it's going to be like, the feelings of walking out of here and just the feelings of engaging with people that I've waited so long to see and just be around and spend the rest of my life with. And so I literally now, like, most of my dreams are about the streets, you know what I mean? And I'm assuming because I've primed myself during the day and prior to going to sleep by thinking about the streets so much. When before I never did that. I never thought about it. So me and Dave were literally talking about that this morning, where I was telling him, like, man, if I had 10 more years or 8 more years to do, this time would be easy. You don't think about your freedom when you still have a long time to go, but because my freedom is within reach, this time is going slow. Now I know what it's like to do short time because I haven't done a day of time in my life. On this life sentence, I didn't do a day of time up until a couple years ago. I started becoming conscious of my time. Before that, it was just I lived for the day, I lived for the moment, and I didn't really care. And me and Dave were having that talk this morning, like, man, bro, like, it's now that my time is getting short, it's getting harder to do this time. That, and I'm outgrowing this place. Like, this isn't my home. I don't feel like I completely fit in here anymore. Like, I feel like this place is holding me back from my true potential. But
yeah, most of the time, yeah, I don't dream about this place, per se. But a lot of the
prisons.
I dream about other prisons. No, it's not that. I think about a lot of people that are around, like, that are in my social circle. They make their way into my dreams a lot, but I'm always out in society doing something, you know. My wife has changed the way that I think about a lot of things also. You know, before I was more focused on, you know, what I'm doing in here and my day to day, and you know, I went to sleep thinking about who owed me money, you know, people that I had, you know, yeah, like shit like that, like people I had stuff going on with, and you know,
potential disaster when you go ask that person for your money.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Like, damn, how's this all gonna play out? You know, when should I do this? You know, I can't catch another. I can't get another 115 within this range, or I'm going off C status. You know, like, so that was all that stuff carried into my dreams. You know, I had a lot of dreams because I was a fighter. You know, I had a lot of dreams where I was always in fights and stuff like that. But now most of my dreams are just regular now. I dream about stuff like my wife and I. We talk a lot about, you know, things we want to do out there. You know, when I get out, and so that actually it takes place in my dreams a lot. You know, and then my color stuff. I've been reading a lot. So crazy part is I dream about the subjects.
Yep, that's a big thing.
Yeah, I dream about what I'm reading about and stuff like that. So it's cool, man.
That's a big thing for me as well. Like when I'm really into the mood of studying, like all night long, I'm having like little mini dreams about whatever it is, and I'm like, damn, how did I learn statistics? I don't know what this stuff.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope it's this easy when I'm in there.
Hell no, everything sense in your dreams. You know, you wake up, you're like, damn, that made no sense.
Yeah, you get up and you're like, damn, I'm shooting this essay, and then you get up and you sound like a retard.
Nope, you have to say.
Oh my bad.
Yeah, you can't say that word anymore.
Yeah. I wake up and I'm mentally challenged.
I don't even think you could say that anymore.
Disabled?
Man,
I don't know.
you can't say anything now. You know,
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm disabled.
Well, I know Jesse's canceled, so it's going to be the James and Dave show now.
I just got canceled for using the R word.
For sure.
Well, you know what? Isn't it okay if one of my very close family members happens to be disabled? Do I get a pass?
No.
Or is that like the guy that has the token black friend that's like, oh, I'm not racist, I have a black friend?
I think that's probably worse. They're probably going to turn her against you. She's going to be like Trump's daughter or the niece.
Yeah. You know? Now my sister Bonnie's going to be like, how could you talk about my people like that on the podcast?
Yeah, speaking up, I don't know.
Yeah, speaking up, that's a very derogatory term.
Yep, that's it.
The crazy thing about it is my sister used to actually work at a place called the Foundation for the Retards. Literally, it was called that. I swear to God.
Like, you can't laugh, James. James is out. Like,
James is out. Dave, you're the last man standing.
Yeah, it's the David show. I don't know how to work the equipment, but I'm going to do my best to get the equipment going, you know? Give a shout-out to El ICEMAN.
I just want to shout out to El ICEMAN. Here's a for James and Jesse.
Yeah. They're going to be doing another podcast with Seth Rogen.
Where you could say whatever you want because they're making America great again.
Yeah, they're gonna be on stage with Kanye.
Yeah. James and Jesse gonna be on the stage with Kanye talking out of their ass.
Yeah,
hey,
twerking or something.
Being totally politically incorrect.
Yeah, hey, as long as they give me some hot meds, then we're good.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Give me some hot meds and I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's gonna have you walking around like his wife. Yeah. Crazy. I don't know, James. You can't be walking around Vegas like that.
Yeah.
Hey,
so. Go ahead.
So right now, you know, you guys brought up El ICEMAN, and definitely, you know, Iceman's in here. He's Cuvo to the homies, and we also got a new participant in the chat that's going by Jessica, and she's definitely, you know, asking some questions. Right. She wants to know about relationships in prison and whatnot. But back to the ICEMAN, I just want to go ahead and tell you guys. I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you guys, but I don't know if it was a week or two ago. ICEMAN had did a bid with SoCal, and he ended up, or he didn't lose, but you know, the Niners lost, and he went ahead and shot $20. So I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, send that over to your ways. Just wanted to go ahead and, you know, put that out there.
Good looking to ICEMAN, man. We really think highly of him, and that's like, in a sense, it's like, man, you know, I know why he's saying it, because ICEMAN, you know, he's a man of his word, you know. And the thing is, it's very, very sad, because I got mixed emotions, like, and there's like a part of me that's like, you know. there's another part of me that's like, my boy, you know. Like, I know how hard. Like, the thing is, look, I'm not a hater. Like, if my boys' team is in the Super Bowl, like, I want them to experience that, you know. I have an old celly of mine, and he's an ex-lifer, been down forever, and this was his first Super Bowl in 27 years that he got to watch. He got to watch his team. He's a diehard Niners fan. I have all kinds of Niners shit on my tablet because of him. He takes it to the next level. Like, honestly, the officers that approved my pictures thought I was a Niner fan because he sends me so much Niner stuff on there. You know, I got jerseys and pictures of Brock Purdy, you know, guys. And he does that. He's
hoping to turn Dave out because he knows he's a Ram fan. So he's like, if I send him enough Niner stuff, maybe I can hypnotize him.
He does that just to like floss, you know. But I was really excited for him. I was like, it's all coming to a head for my boy, you know. Like, he's the guy that actually got me on my change, you know, where I am today. And he's one of my mentors, and he's somebody that I really, really care about. He's like a big brother to me. He's a diehard Niner fan. So, like, I thought about him, you know, like, I was like, damn, I sent him and ICEMAN get well cards. I sent them some e-cards. I forgot the one I sent to ICEMAN, but, you know, it was pretty much along those lines, you know.
Hey, you know what's crazy though? Shout out back to ICEMAN for sure. Shout out.
Thank you, man.
That's the guy right there. But we drew a line in the sand right here in the cell, Dave and I, because Dave was like, you know what, I got a backup Slayer, and I was already backing up ICEMAN because I was going for the Cali team. That's just what it was. I definitely love Patrick Mahomes. I think he does his shit. You know what I mean? He's cool. And somebody told me, the old Kermit the Frog sounding ass dude, right? But he does his shit. I think he's the next Brady. But I wanted to see the Niners bring it home. I wanted to see the Cinderella story on Purdy, and it was cool though. You know, like I said, they did their shit. It wasn't no blowout. I mean, them fools did their stuff. You know, like
Kansas City get the ball.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Time on the clock. You know, them dudes are.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah.
Purdy was tired. Was tired, and in the end, it boiled down to the best quarterback. You know what I mean?
That's it.
And you know, but yeah, for sure, good looking out. Thank you about that. Like I said, the shout out to ICEMAN. I also want to send a shout out to Brew Swillus, and that's my guy right there, and his kickstand, Lex Luth, his sidekick. You know what I mean? Batman and Robin right there. You know? And for sure, you know, send my shout out to them and thank them for their support and listening and always being there. You know.
Hey, there's a okay, so look, man, my curiosity is piqued, right? I want to know what the hell Jessica wants to know about relationships in prison.
All right. So
we have a whole topic here, but you know, like, honestly, like,
yeah, let's hear it.
Let's give us some questions right now.
So, you know, she had asked a question earlier on in the other chat. Hopefully, she could retype it. You know, my mental capacity of storage that the information I could hold is very limited. But
we don't do other chats. Sorry, Jessica, but beat it, nerd.
So.
I'm just kidding.
So she's asking. So on this here, she's asking. She says, "Have they had love relationships in prison? How did they meet their wives?"
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, you know, Jesse had a thing going with the neighbor over here. You know that for a little while, but no, I'm just kidding. I think Martin probably, but you know,
yeah,
no, but all right, so go ahead. Well, you know what? I'm going to answer this because you know Jesse's going to get into some stuff later on in the podcast, and so look, I know my wife. I met my wife before I came in. I've known my wife for over 20 years, and that's just what it is. My wife and I had a bond that carried through. You know, it was able to survive my incarceration and all my shenanigans while I was on drugs, and so I have a different. Ours is a different circumstance than a lot of people that maybe met their spouses in here and whatnot, you know. And what was the next question again? What was it about?
Okay, so
where'd you meet them, and if.
Well, she's asked. Well, actually, she just typed another question on. I could go ahead and answer that or ask that question. She says, so Jessica writes, I had a pen pal in Cali. I decided to stop writing him. I never shared my phone number with him. I started getting calls from people in another prison he was in before I communicated with him. So so then she just typed another question. Could you share your
Le
take?
queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Could you share your take on what is happening? Why would he stalk me and then share my number with others? Is it because is it because he's mad?
No, and I'll get into that because there's a lot of weird people in prison, and so I'll get into that in a minute. I'm gonna call back because the phone's gonna cut off, and maybe we can break that down a little bit. Break that down a little bit more.
All right, sorry about that. I put it on mute for a moment, but they should be calling us back shortly. I might be stepping away for a moment, and I might have David and Jesse navigate the ship. I'll let them know right now when they call back.
This call is now being
Este
recorded.
es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
All right. So right now, before you guys start right now, I just want to go ahead and give you the heads up because I'm not sure if I told you guys, but I bought a prison phone and the installers here to install it for me. So I'm gonna be in and out of the conversation. I gotta go ahead and assist with this. I gotta run some cables, some RJ11 cables through my wall here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand off the microphone to you guys, and then I'll step in every so often. I'm gonna have my wireless headphones on. I won't be able to communicate, but I could hear the prompts, and I'll be on my phone to make sure once the line is cut off, and I'm able to come back and reconnect the next call.
Hey, okay, no problem. And I'm just gonna say right off the bat, James, you can go install your prison phone, but I respect your dedication to all things prison. Like honestly, like
What is a prison phone?
I believe it's a prison phone, Jesse. I think it looks like the damn
big
phone
metal phone, like TJ.
I think it looks like the damn phone we got on the wall out there.
Like Tijuana Jackson got in his cell over there.
Yeah.
You seen that movie?
Yeah,
Tijuana Jackson.
Yeah, that's that right there. It looks like it's probably like an old one from the county. It's got them bail bonds numbers in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, who knows? But that's
what's a jail phone, James?
So okay, so I jumped on eBay, man. I don't know. This thought just came to my mind. I was like, man, you know what? Since we're having this room done, man, I was like, I'm gonna install a prison phone. So when they call me up, I could pick up the calls, on the prison phone. You guys are on a prison phone. I'm on a prison phone. We're all on prison phones. So not only that I buy it, but it's gonna be actual and functional. So I'll be able to take calls. So I'm more I'm gonna use it for whenever we get live calls. I'm gonna pick up the call and it's gonna connect to you guys. So we're all gonna be able to hear each other. But it's gonna be functional. I'm gonna install a landline. Tomorrow we're gonna get the floors installed. So I gotta get this done before tonight, before they patch up the holes and whatnot. So
yeah.
But yeah, so
this is you off of. This is you not on meth.
Yeah, no. This
you never did meth.
Yeah, no. I would have been on something else. I would have been on some. I probably would have built a rocket ship or something. But yeah, this is normal me without any.
Hey, you would have been launching a satellite from your backyard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. Handle your business. And we'll do. We got a couple disclaimers that we're gonna talk about too, because we have some stuff that came up, and this kind of ties into it. This kind of ties into it, and so it's an excellent question that Jessica's asking. Look, this is the thing in a nutshell, right? And this is coming from Jesse and I, who've been in the system for a long freaking time. I've been in for, Jesse's been in for 23 years, but he's a YA baby. He's been in before that. We both came from, juvenile hall and stuff like that. I have with my old number in this one, I have over 20 years in the system. And let me tell you this: there's a lot of freaking scumbags in the system. There's a lot of good motherfuckers in here too. There's a lot of people that it's a mix of people. A lot of the guys that
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
just like out there in society, there's people on the dating apps and whatnot. There's people that look for love in different avenues. I don't know what leads them to a pen pal prison site or whatever, but I don't want to judge anybody that uses those or diminish anybody's relationships if they've been able to find like meaningful relationships or whatnot. To each their own, it's none of my business, Me personally, I don't do the MWI, which is my wife and I, we call it met while incarcerated, but I know a lot of people that have, and they've had actually successful relationships that have spanned a long time, But I'm telling you that if you get a hold of somebody in prison through a pen pal site, you get what you pay for, kind of, You don't
Russian roulette.
Yes, Russian roulette. You don't know who you're talking to on the other line. Or, and it's better, look, if you're going to communicate in letters, and you can have some really deep conversations with people, but you need to be straight up and you need to have them be forthcoming about what their intentions are. Why are you on this site? Are you looking, because most people, I don't care what they say, they're not looking for a pen pal. They're looking for some sort of sexual relationship, even on paper. They're looking for women to come see them. They're looking for pictures. They're looking for things. Yeah, financial support. There's a lot of things that people in here need, and the system doesn't meet those needs. Yeah, they give us trays, they give us a place to sleep and whatnot. But there's a lot of people that actually they need that financial support from the outside. And if they're not, there's no connection there. There's no bond there. There's nothing that you're not going to be bonded with somebody through a letter like that, right off the bat. Like, yeah, you guys can grow a relationship, but most of those letters, if you're going to do that in the future with people that are in prison, I would say just keep it superficial. Use a P.O. box. Don't ever give your home address, and don't ever give your number. Don't ever give your cell phone number. If you're going to give a number to somebody, get one of them Google phones. Get a Google phone. Get one of them phones on the internet. One that a number that
WhatsApp or something.
Yeah, WhatsApp or something like that. And you need to keep yourself safe, and you need to keep yourself. You need to be protected from the predators that are in here. Not everybody in here is a bad person, but there's a lot of people that are, and you get what you get. That's what it is. It's not like my heart goes out to you if you experience something like that from somebody, because that's not everybody. Like I said before, that's not everybody in here. We have those issues also. We come across people in here too that we see them superficially. I don't know if you want to get into a little bit more on that, Jess.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good transition point for. So our topic today that we were initially going to discuss was fork in the roads. When you get to a fork in the road, and like Dave said, there's a lot of good dudes in here. There's a lot of bad dudes in here. Truth be told, I think we were all at one point one of those bad dudes in here.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sorry, I don't think I answered your question. The guy's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah,
the guy who did that to you, Jessica, is a fucking scumbag. He didn't give a shit about you. He didn't give a shit about nothing but what you can give to him. And the moment that you freaking stop communicating with him, or he didn't like something, guess what? He passed your number around just like some idiot would do, writing your number on the freaking bathroom stall in a freaking restaurant or something.
Yeah.
For a good time, call Jessica.
Yeah.
555.
Mix a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So
some
don't.
Weird ass
and I'm sorry you went through that. Fuck that dude. He's a piece of shit. And there it is.
Yeah. So
ahead,
that's that. So, like I said, that's a good transition point. So the topic originally that we were going to discuss today was fork in the roads. You get to a fork in the road, and you have to make a hard decision. Sometimes life-changing decisions. Sometimes, And so what I wanted to do before I got into that, is I wanted to discuss. I wanted to kind of like basically do a disclaimer. I wanted to do a disclaimer because when we set out on this podcast, when I initially started this with James and we began this journey, I was pretty adamant about maintaining the integrity of this podcast. I wasn't going to be involved in some prison tell-all, podcast. I didn't want to get on here and glorify my past lifestyle and get to talking all this gory prison stuff that I had been involved in, and the prison gangs and this, that, and the other thing. It just wasn't. That was not my thing, And I was, our objective was to take this podcast in a different direction, to show everybody out there that there's good in prison, and like prison isn't defined by what you see on TV, what you hear about it. It's not all gangs, and there's a lot of dudes in here that have turned their lives around, and my objective, James' objective, and those that we've gotten to participate, our objective was ultimately to utilize our past experiences to convey to the world and convey to other people that, hey, there's some true redemption stories in here, and so I've reiterated that along the way several times. I've said, hey, I just want to make sure, because sometimes we have gotten to talk about certain things to add context to what we're saying, or to validate the change and the transformation, to show like, hey, this is how far I've come. So I've reiterated each time I've gotten into that, because I didn't want anything to be misconstrued. And I know we've gotten a lot of people watching this podcast. We've gotten a lot of people out there listening, and even potentially investigators listening to this podcast, board investigators, IGI investigators from the institution, because there's a lot of the same, a lot of guys calling this number and stuff like that. And so I've done my best to try to screen the individuals that I've personally brought to this podcast, and I've basically talked to the guys, that anybody that they've brought in themselves personally. I've said, hey, try to do your best to ensure that who you bring is who he says he is, Yeah. But at the same time, we can only determine a person's character by what we see and what we know. You don't necessarily get to see what's in everybody's closet. You don't get to see what's in the dark until it comes to light, And we call it, my silly Dave calls it the big five, like gangs, drugs, violence, cell phones, disrespecting staff. Yeah, disrespecting staff.
That's when drugs, because I call it using drugs and selling drugs. Those two different things.
Okay, yeah.
That's two things on the big five. You can say drugs and it'd be like one giant thing, but look, using drugs and selling drugs are two separate things that people do in here.
Right.
I don't want to deal with any of them. I want to make sure it's all covered.
Right. And you can usually identify those components in a person's character. We've been doing this long enough that I can look at a person for a couple days and be like, okay, this dude's shady. He's up to something. There's something going on in his life that I don't need anywhere near mine and what I'm doing, And so those are the big five that we look for when we associate with individuals. And then, of course, like I said, all the guys that I've brought into this podcast, I can look at them and say, hey, man, this guy's doing his stuff. This guy has a great backstory. This guy, this is how far he's come. These are things, I admire a lot of the character about this individual. But, again, it's all about progression. Nobody here is perfect. Everybody is subject to I could make a horrible decision tomorrow that could change my life. I could make a horrible decision that could change somebody else's life. And I have a lifetime of examples of all the horrible choices I've made. And so I say all that to say this, right? As far as the disclaimer, there's somebody that we had brought on, and I'm not going to call out names, but I do feel that it's necessary to say this for anybody who may be listening to this, because I want to protect the integrity of this podcast.
And what we're trying to do here, what are we trying to do? We're about highlighting change, genuine change, period.
Right. Showing the redemption story and highlighting genuine change.
Where we came from to show, and we talk about our stories. I don't know the listeners. I don't know if the new listener Jessica or whatnot, but me and Jesse, we're both lifers, and we're both scared. Well, my wife hates when I say that. We're both incarcerated right now, and we have
scummy lifer.
We have an L attached to our sentence, and both of us are in for murder. Both of us have done years and years and years in this place. So Jesse's closer to.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, so that's just what we're trying to say. Look, we talk about our story, we talk about the things we did because we're transparent and who we used to be and where we're going from here, and to show that anybody can change. That's why we're doing this. For people that have loved ones that are incarcerated, people that have relationships, with people that are incarcerated, to show, hey man, that there's good people in prison. We're normal people just like anybody else. Yeah, we've done some messed up shit in the past, but we don't have to be defined by those decisions. That's what that's like Jesse was saying. But yeah, go ahead, Jess. I get passionate about this too, man, because I cannot stand fake freaking people, man. And not saying that homeboy's fake or nothing.
Right.
I'm just saying that. Come on,
No,
dog, you got to be a little smarter than that, you know?
Yeah, you got to have some sense. So like I said, I'm saying this. I'm giving this disclaimer for the sake of anybody who may any negative attention that may have been brought to this podcast as a result of somebody else's actions or somebody else's decisions. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's a participant on the podcast that recently made a horrible decision. And it's going to affect him. He's going to pay the price for that decision because he's going to have to do at least another 5 years of his life in here when he literally was on his way out the door eventually, like real soon, And so, like I said, I'm not going to take nothing away from the things that man's done. He's done a lot of good stuff, and again, he, nothing justifies his actions. Nothing, he messed up. And I don't want that to undermine the message that we've been conveying through this podcast, the change and the, stuff like that, because people out there in society, what he did, people out there in society might not see it as bad, might be like, oh, okay, well, it's understandable, but in here, administration, investigators, the board, people that basically have our freedom in their hands,
they know a criminal and manipulative action when they see it.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Yep.
So, again, I'm just saying that to say that some people make bad decisions. Some people get to a fork in the road and they make a horrible choice, and that don't let that reflect on every one of us that are participating in this podcast, and again, also too, I don't think it should completely reflect that man's character. It just means
All right, guys, I'm back. So I'm just gonna wait for them to call back, and I'll go ahead and reconnect the next call. All right, and that's my alarm that I put to let me know that this call was about to be over. And let's see, dismiss. Okay. So right now, as soon as they call back, I'll go ahead and reconnect the call. I'm in between things right now, so I'm running between the office here and the other room. So let me see who else. Oh wow. Okay, here we go.
Esta
This
es
call is now
Global
being
Telling.
recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Sentinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
All right, guys, just want to give you an update on the prison phone. We still haven't broke ground yet, but we're working on it.
So, broke ground.
broke ground. Like, what is it? Is this Superman's telephone booth?
Yeah, is it going to go underground? How, like, to the Bat Cave, huh?
Yeah, he's going to step inside. Agent Smart right here is about to be underneath his house in a minute.
Hey, I'm gonna send you some pictures as soon as I got it up. But we're running the wires through the walls. Man. So that's what.
Hey, I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is about the word wires, but it calls to the ex-tweaker in me.
Yeah. Copper wires.
Copper wire, no, any wires. Thank God I never got into the copper aspect of things. That just seemed like
that's a whole nother level of low budget tweaker.
That just seems like low level to me. Like, I could
too
see
much danger involved in that.
Yeah, I'm not doing all that. I was just your standard drug dealer, arms runner, and whatnot.
Yeah,
but,
camera security.
But I did have camera systems and stuff. And wires, man. The wires were my thing.
The only wires I was messing was the stereo wires. Hooking up tweak. I used to tweak on my system in my car. That was my thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I had a camera system, man, that was so intense, man, that I would not leave that screen. It just captivated me.
Hey, so again, what I was saying about old boy, you know, we don't know everything that everybody does. What, you know, we can't look inside everybody's closet, you know, and I don't want that to reflect my judgment, because I actually you know, I take responsibility. I'm the one who actually brought this individual to the podcast, and I, you know, feel that he had a great story and he had a great redemption story. And again, it was he made a horrible choice that anybody could have got. There's just a lot of components involved in the decision that he made that is going to cost him dearly. And I'm only saying all this, I'm only airing out his dirty laundry in a sense to protect the integrity of this podcast, to protect the integrity of those of us on here that are doing the right thing, to protect the message that we are conveying, because nobody wants to look, you know, nobody wants to look like I don't want anybody to look at everybody else on here as if what they're saying is bullshit. And you know, because that's exactly how the board's going to take, you know, his recovery, and I don't want anybody else to feel that way, and I don't want anybody else I just don't want any negative attention towards this podcast, because I believe we've done pretty good so far, and we've avoided, you know, negative feedback from listeners. We've avoided negative feedback. We haven't caught no heat from administration, so I believe that we're doing the right thing along the way, you know.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, the topic was
forks in the road.
Forks in the road.
Change choices.
Yep, choices.
And that's the thing, right? So, are you able to recognize when you're at a fork in the road, Jess? Like literally when a fork has presented itself, and I want you, look, I know that it's a pretty easy concept to consider, right? What is a fork in the road? A fork in the road is basically you can go left or right. Left is the wrong way. Well, I'm a left-hander, so I say left is the right way. But this is the thing, you know. So it's just a matter of look, you have two options. And these things come up a lot. You got two options. So one of them, right? For instance, even with homeboy, you know, we call it inmate Twitter. We hear the gossip and whatnot, you know. So when you're faced with something that you see, right, you know damn well that you got two options. You got two options. You can do what most of us do and skirt down the right way and continue on your path, or you can explore something, but you've already made a decision. You're already on the wrong path. I was at a fork in the road when I started to come into the system as a kid. I was at a fork in the road. What am I going to do here? Am I gonna continue on this destructive path, or am I going to learn from, you know, this juvenile incarceration, and am I going to do what other people do and, you know, take advantage of the programs and things that they offer, and, you know, get out and, you know, start my life, you know? But I chose to continue on into the path of gangs and, you know, criminal mentality and destruction and, you know, warped ideology and whatnot, you know. But are you able to recognize, Jess, when you're at a fork in the road?
100%. I can look back. Part of my recovery involved me, you know, reviewing my past and you know, seeing all the wrong turns that I've taken, you know, recognizing all the bad that I've done, and I can look back and when I actually did my inventory and I actually seen where, and 100%, I there was many times that I got to a fork in the road, and the crazy thing about it is I always took the left road. Like 98% of the time, I took the left road. You know, the bad road. I took the wrong road, and that one led me down another bad road, and another bad road, and another fork in the road, you know?
As a left-hander, I'm offended.
I'm sorry to hear that. Speaking of politically correct, you know what they used to say about left-handed?
Yeah.
How many, what's the percentage right now left-handed in the world?
You're pretty small, dude. It's like 10% or 1% or some crazy shit.
Yeah, it was in the psychology book.
Yeah, it's so bad, you know, but,
yeah,
anyway.
so definitely, yeah. I have a lifetime of examples of the fork in the road and making the wrong choice. So now I absolutely recognize when I'm at a fork in the road, because anytime there's some cognitive dissonance in making that choice,
social psychology,
I know
type of tension.
Yeah, I mean, then I know, yeah, exactly. So like, if I'm struggling, you know, if there's anything, because natural instinct says, my natural instinct.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
But if there's some cognitive dissonance in my choice decision making, then I know that I'm at a fork in the road. Okay, hold on. these are the options right here, and this I have, this kind of feels like it could be cool, but it also feels like it could be wrong, or, so that's how I kind of judge when I'm at a fork in the road. You know what I mean? When it requires me to make a decision that can end good or bad, or if there's something struggling, if the decision might conflict with my value system, might conflict with my goals, my objectives, then it'll usually pull on me,
I think that, that what a lot of people don't understand is that there's several forks. Once you make a path for yourself, right? You forge your own way, and you've made a decision, and you go down that path of the road. There are options. Absolutely. That's what we don't understand. Is we say it's almost like driving off into the side of the freeway, and you get those little ridges that are supposed to wake you up, and you're not out at the wheel, but you stay on it. You're like, damn, this is getting a little bumpy right now, but I think I can pull out of this. My cell's getting hit all the time. I've been in a few fights here and there. I got some ups and downs in the game, but you know what? I think I'm gonna ride this one out. I'm gonna, what do we call it? I'm gonna hang strong. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it strong. It's the same thing on the main line. Like, look, man, it wasn't. Everybody goes on to this big old thing and glorifies the main line and does all this and it's that and that. Look, man, the main line, when I was over there, I was perfectly comfortable over there. I never seen I didn't have no freaking issues, I didn't have issues like that. I made decisions. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, some of them were kind of rocky. I felt like, damn, maybe I fucked up right there. I made that call here and there, but at the end of the day, I chose to stay on that path. I could have left any number of different times, but I chose to stay on that path. And guess what? I forged a path of destruction under the influence of that warped ideology, And so the same thing goes for life. You're out there in life, you meet people, right? So my wife and I, for instance, right? When we got back in touch and we started to talk and we rekindled something that it had never left either one of us. We weren't in contact for a while because I was a dumbass and my wife wasn't. Let's just be real here. I'm in prison because I made decisions when I was at a fork in the road with her out in the streets, and she chose to do what she had to do to get her life on track. And that was a fork. Boom! I went in, I forged, and I ended up with a life sentence. We converged. We converged again. We got back in touch. Well, we were at a fork in the road again. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to commit our lives to each other? Because in a sense, that's what relationships are all about, right? You cross paths with somebody, it's there. You can just tell when it's there, but you're always at a fork in the road with that. What are you doing here when you're interacting with somebody in such an intimate way?
Well, I think for you guys, and I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but I think for you guys, I believe it's several forks in the road that brought you guys to where you are today, because not only did you guys have to make a decision, what are we going to do with our relationship? Are we going to commit to each other? What do we do? But you had to make several decisions. Am I going to leave the gang? Am I going to leave the drugs? Am I going to tolerate certain aspects of prison that I normally wouldn't tolerate? There was many of those forks in the road for you that ultimately drove you back to.
And they kept coming up. And the thing is, look, in my head, what I realized in my head was like, look, all right, so I know what I want. At the end of the day, I knew that I had made a mistake on letting such an amazing woman get away the first time. I knew that I had made a mistake. When I had her back, I knew that I wasn't willing to make the same mistakes that I had made before. But I didn't realize how many mistakes that I was actually making at the time. I thought, all right, well, I'm just going to get off of the meth. I'm just going to get off.
All I got to do is stop getting high. And we're good.
And I'm good. Well, that wasn't the case because I was still greedy, right? I still wanted to make money in prison in a deflated rate. Everything in prison's inflated. So I was kind of focused on that. It's like, all right, well, I'm not going to do anything like that, but I can still make the money, because I need this much money. I need these items so I can feel whole in my heart. And at the end of the day, that wasn't true. I didn't have to do any of that. So I had to realize, all right, boom. So I had to cut the day 5. I was like, damn, just to even be on a respectable level with this amazing woman who doesn't have to be with someone like me. She's got the world at her fingertips. I don't I have to know, okay, right off the bat, right? I need to cut out all the things that would have been a distraction before and would have caused cognitive dissonance, tension. I had to cut the drugs. I couldn't use drugs no more. I'm talking about all drugs. Like, there ain't no California sober. Well, I just cut everything out, and I'm just going to drink and smoke weed. I can't, at the end of the day, I'm not an alcoholic. You know, I've drank in the past and stuff like that. So if I feel like I can't stop drinking, then maybe I have an issue with alcohol. So I just cut it out. Like, you know what? I'm not somebody, that's not really my thing anyway, so I cut it out. Weed. I'm not a weed smoker. So why would I be smoking weed? Why would I need to substitute anything for anything else? So I had to cut that. Boom. Drugs are done. Now selling drugs, I don't work. I get caught up like that, man. I can lose my visits. I can lose all kinds of shit. You know, that's out. So, you know, then phones and stuff like that, right? If you're doing good, you know, obviously I've been in trouble for having something like that. That's illegal contraband. You know, that's going to cause problems in my relationship because I'm going to lose privileges. You know, I'm going to lose privileges. I'm going to lose a few things that we have that we can experience together as a couple. You know, family visiting. You know, it's real important when they take family visits for phones. Guess what? Phones are out. I'm not willing to. Yeah, it'd be nice to kick back in here and freaking watch TikToks all day and, you know, and freaking whatever, right? The fact of the matter is that's not more important than my wife and the time that I get with her. So cut that out, you know. Fighting, man. I used to love fighting in prison. It's just one thing. Like, there's a lot of people in here that make themselves very easy freaking targets, man, beat up on. You know, it's just, think about the people that did that to Jessica. There's people that are out here in these yards that are straight scumbags. We see it. They walk around. They're arrogant, and they ain't about nothing. And so I used to love beating up on them. You know, can't do that no more because guess what?
That's out.
That's out because I know that violence is not the answer. Violence is why I'm in prison. I murdered somebody. I'm in prison because I didn't have a stop sign on my violent tendencies. I went all the way into killing an individual, you know, taking him from his family. So violence is out, you know.
And violence was a tool that you had utilized.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It was a vehicle to vent for a lot of us in here. It was like we're just sitting around.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
That somebody gets to get tuned up today because it's an opportunity for me to release some of the stress and the tension that I've been building up by living in this treacherous environment.
I'm in such pain that I wanted to get sprayed with freaking, it felt like lava on my skin, and I wanted to get hit with a block.
Right.
Because that's how much pain.
With a stick. Like,
that's how much pain that I was in. And that's, you know, so I knew that.
That's a 60 seconds?
That was a 60 seconds. So, I'm going to go ahead and give you a call, James, over there by your prison phone.
Yeah.
And call back.
All right, so I'm back. I'm trying to do two things at once here. So I'm in the middle of getting, if you guys missed it, some phones installed on my wall. And, you know, I'm doing this. So as soon as they call back, I'll go ahead and reconnect it. Let me check the messages here. Let me see. Are you guys up for parole? So the only one that's up for parole, it's gonna be Jesse. And Jesse, he's been up to, I think he's been to the parole board before. But I'll double check with him when he calls back. Jesse mentioned who he is talking about on the podcast. Can Jesse?
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
All right, guys. So
hey, James.
Yeah, so I actually have a few questions for you guys here from the audience. I'll go ahead and read them off to you, so like that you guys have something to answer while I'm away. The first.
Hey, can you hear us, James?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we don't sound all chopped up like robotic.
Nah, absolutely not. Nope. Luckily, no.
Oh, okay. All right, because it's kind of starting to sound like that on the recording. But go ahead.
Okay, so the first question is gonna be from ICEMAN. He says, what is he asking? Let me see. Can Jesse mention who is he talking about on this podcast? And then also, Jessica's also asking, what forks have you encountered in prison? And also, she wants to know, do you guys speak Spanish? And I'll go ahead and answer for David, and that's an absolutely big no.
Hey, I speak a weird Spanglish, like I'm telling you, like there's probably some French words, maybe a little not. Hey, man,
he got his own dialect.
Hey, it's horrible to listen to, honestly. Jesse does, because Jesse's just like that, like he's a survivor. I'm surprised he doesn't speak Ukrainian right now.
Hey, what was the question she asked prior to the Spanish thing?
Okay, look. Oh no, it was hold on, real quick, for Iceman, so we don't forget. Look, we don't want to put him out there. But I can tell you that it's not me. It's not Jesse. It's not Silas. It's not Ricky. It's not Gary. It's not Javi.
Now, look at this. And that's it. It's just better that we don't, right? It's just better that we don't. That individual, I'm sure that that individual, whether or not he decides to take responsibility. Me personally, I would prefer that he don't come on here anymore, because he's brought in a whole lot of negative attention to himself.
Nobody that's granted board soon.
Yeah, it's nobody that's actually waiting for the governor's decision right now. but it's just, like I said, I'm not trying to call out names. I'm not tripping. I am bringing it on here like this. I'm not worried about this dude or anybody else. I'm doing this for the integrity of the podcast. Yeah. Besides that, like, I've already given him my own regañada, and I got more for him as I see him. But
is it Bruce Swillus?
Yeah, it's not Bruce Willis, that's for sure.
Swillus.
Yeah, Bruce Swillus. But
Go ahead.
But nah, like I said, I'm sure he can make his own deduction, and figure out who it is.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I just don't feel that it's fair to air his name out, because he also has people that come on here and listen, and I don't know what he's said to people, and I just don't, in that sense, it's just not fair to him. What I'm saying is simply for us and the integrity of our recovery and this podcast, and for anybody who may be listening. I don't know if any commissioners want to listen to our podcast now, or investigators, and be like, okay, all these dudes are probably on some weird shit, or up to no good, or just, and they're masquerading around here as somebody that's doing the right thing. And again, what he did was not criminal. I want to say that he did not. It was criminal thinking, but it was not criminal. He would not go to jail. He did not break the law. He made a horrible decision, though, that victimized himself and the other person involved in it, and just, like I said, maybe their family. There's just a lot more components to it. Like
broke some rules,
Yeah, broke some rules that
are
seen as criminal behavior, and they are criminal behavior. You got to have enough sense, and that was another thing I wanted to talk about when you get to that fork in the road. In the past, in our criminal lifestyle, for me, when I got to that fork in the road and I made those horrible choices every time, it was selfishness, it was impulsiveness, it was recklessness, it was greed. There was so many different defects of character at play right there that forced me to make the horrible choice, And so I think this individual, needs to do some work on himself and say, hey, what was it that
what am I missing in my life where I felt like that was
that I felt I need that this was a logical choice, and nowadays when I get faced with at a fork in the road, it's like, okay, whatever decision I decide to make right now, how does it align with my value system? How does it align with my integrity, with my goals? How can this affect me, and not just me? Is this going to honor the man that I murdered, whose life I'm living to honor today? Is this going to honor my family? Is this going to honor me? And so those are things when I get to the fork in the road that I consider, and I, like I said, I don't believe he thought that far in. You know, he gave in to his own, you know, instant gratification and or selfish need or whatever it was, his own, you know, and so I like I said, I don't want to give his name specifically, you know, and just for the sake of, you know, whoever he may have that's listening or whatever it is, and so yeah, that's for Iceman. What was Jessica's question?
Yeah, what was that question again? Hurry up, James. You ran off to the
I'll
phone.
tell if Iceman wants to ask later on the personal between us.
Yeah, we'll talk between
you
us.
know, we can talk to Iceman later because like I said, I got no problem. I'm not going to say anything on here that I wouldn't say to anybody's face. That's
no, 100%. Yeah.
You know, but yeah. So Jessica, what was the other question? She asked something about prior to asking if we speak Spanish.
Yeah, I hope everybody's even there right now.
Hey,
yeah, I hope that we're not sleeping.
I ran back. Now you guys are the other one she was asking was if you guys spoke Spanish, and she also wanted to know if you guys are up for parole.
Oh yeah, up for parole. Yeah.
I'm not. No, I got I go to parole. I go to board in 2031. I'll be in for 21 years at that time. Yeah. And I am eligible. I have life with parole. That's technically my term. I was sentenced for 40 years to life. I was sentenced for 42 years to life, but I was recently 2 years came off my sentence, so I'm down to 40 years to life. I got a 15 to life for second-degree murder, and I got 25 to life for using a firearm. Jesse?
Yeah, I went to board last year on Valentine's Day of 2023, and I received a 3-year denial. They just reviewed my case in January, and they chose not to advance my case to bring me back early because I've received a high psych eval. One of the criteria for advancement is you got to have a moderate or lower psych eval, and so I right now I'm scheduled for February of 26. Next year in May, I'll petition to advance my board, and so that way I can get a new psych eval, because you get a new psych eval every 3 years. So I'll petition in May, and they'll set my hearing out within the next around 6 months, so that way I can get a new psych eval. And personally, I believe that I have a real good chance of earning my freedom again, and getting another opportunity to return back to society and earn society's trust. You know.
That's it.
So when it's all said and done, I believe that I'll be getting out of here in the beginning of 2026.
You know, and just for like the listeners, you know, look, I'm here. I got the time that I had coming. I was living a very destructive lifestyle, and I don't make no excuses for my behavior. I take full responsibility for the things that I did that got me into prison, and the doors are going to open for me when it's my time. If that's earlier, if laws change, there's stuff going on with the gun enhancement. I have a court hearing coming up to see if I qualify for some of the laws, and so. But at the end of the day, I gotta do my time. Jesse's he's farther in than I am, but he's got to do his time. He's doing the time that he had coming for what he did.
Absolutely. I had life without it one time.
Yeah.
I was never getting out of prison. I had no parole, no chance, no opportunity.
Yeah. And just because we have the time that we have, it doesn't mean that we got to be scumbags in here. You know, we both came to that realization, and you know, we came to our fork in the road. We came to our fork in the road through different experiences in here, but it's really the same set of stuff going on, gang politics and drugs and, you know, and whatnot, criminal behavior. But we both were both able to open up our eyes to realize that, hey, we're at a fork in the road. We need to decide. Basically, going the bad way would have been that we were going to die in prison. 100%. I can stay in here. CDCR is authorized by law to hold me in here until I die. I never have to be released. There's nothing illegal about it or whatnot. It's what it is. That's my sentence. If I continued on my path of destruction, I was going to die in prison.
100%.
Same with Jess.
100%.
Yeah.
I was even trying to speed up the process of dying in prison.
Yeah. It wasn't even like it was no issue.
Yeah.
It was like, man, you know, the quicker the better.
Yeah, let's hurry up and get this done. I don't want to be one of these old miserable lifers.
Yeah, fallen. Yeah, we see them. You know, somebody died somebody died in one block, you know, and I've talked about it before. Look, I've seen dead bodies in here. I haven't seen as many as a lot of other people. I've seen 3 people dead in here. That doesn't mean that I don't, like, people haven't died, like, in the yards and buildings. I'm talking about what I've seen, you know, with my own eyes, and that's just in here, you know. And the thing is somebody died, you know, on a, just like they do on the streets. Somebody died in one block. We're in 3 blocks. Somebody died in one block, and that's it. His time's done.
Yeah.
That's how he went out. You know, they found him dead in the middle of the night, overdosed. He have nobody in there to save him, and that's that. You know, and they wheeled his body out, and it's such a common occurrence in here that we had yard that morning. Nothing different. We went out there. We played softball. People talked about it. Oh, you heard so and so died. Yep. And it's just nobody was surprised.
Yep.
And that's the sad part. Nobody would be surprised except for the people who love us if we were wheeled out of here.
Yep.
You know, maybe now because of the things that we do now, we live a positive lifestyle now. So people would be like, no, you know, it would be a little different now. But before, when we were on that destructive path, hey, we were just another, you know, we would just be another name in conversation years down the line. Hey, you heard so-and-so, you know, died over there in Centinela?
Yeah.
Done data. Oh, really? That's it. What you got? You got any of that shit?
Yeah, where'd he get that from?
Yep.
That's the irony of a dope fiend or a drug addict.
Yep.
Like when I hear somebody goes out or somebody overdoses, the first thing they think is like, where'd he get that from? Damn, that, you know, and that's another example of a fork in the road. You know, every time they stick that needle in their arm, they're at a fork in the road.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
They're truly playing Russian roulette, you know, and there's a commercial that plays commercial after commercial right here. They play it over and over. They have for a long time. I haven't seen it lately, but it was on for a long time, and it was that where they had the revolver laying on the mirror and the thing breaking the little pieces of fentanyl pills, and it'd be like doing fentanyl. It was like playing Russian roulette. And it was, and the guns going off. Yeah, with the guns going off, and literally that's exactly what I think when I think of fentanyl. And that's a fork in the road for these cats. You know what I mean? And again, they don't have the tools necessary to make the right decision, to make the right choice.
Now let me ask you this, right? Is a fork in the road similar to just consequential thinking?
I believe that because not all fork in the roads have consequences for us.
In the road?
Yeah, you know, yeah. Not all forks in the road have consequences necessarily, right? They can alter your you know, they can alter things in your life, right? But I believe for those of us in here and those of us living this life, consequential thinking is a big part, you know, that you utilize. I do, absolutely. When I get to a fork in the road, you know, and it could be something negative, or it could be something. I utilize consequential thinking. That's a big thing. So it can be.
And the crazy part about that is you can go down the path, right? You're on the right path. You've been on the right path for a while now. You got years in. You got years in this recovery lifestyle. So you go down this road and everything is all gravy, right? But then you start to look around and you start to realize, hey man, you do an evaluation of your life. Self-reflection, you know, and you've got to start, you know, it's never too late. Just because you're on this path of recovery and everything is going gravy, you still could look around you and see, okay, well, what do I need to work on so that I can be successful in my recovery? What are things in my life
that are hindering
my growth? What are things that I might have realized now?
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
What are things that I've realized? I'm this far along in my path, and I've come to realize certain things about my life, the way that I've been living it, that maybe aren't right for me.
I think that's a great statement, and you know, because that's a great catalyst for, you know, this fork right here in the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, so let me call back and we'll pick that up.
All right, guys. Sorry about this once again. I'm running in between here and there, and just gonna wait for them to call back, and we'll go ahead and continue with. Oh, here it is. My alarm is going off. All right. So yeah. So I got other stuff going on over here. I'm playing installation guy, and I'm getting some assistance from my wife's sister's husband. He's an air conditioner installer, so he was actually working on the new air conditioning system we are having put in, and I took the opportunity and asked him if he could help me out with running these wires here. All right, so here we go.
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Dolphins.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Sentinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we made some progress here. We got one of the lines through. We're fishing the second line and shit. You're thinking second line? Yeah, I got two phones. I got a silver one and a blue one.
I got two phones, one for the plug and one for the nose.
Respect.
Okay, look at young Kevin James right here, Kevin Gates.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. We're gonna go ahead and continue on this. Unless you have any questions or anything, because we were talking a little bit through in the middle of the phone call, so we wanted to kind of continue on this train of thought.
Was there any other questions, James?
She's asking. So Jessica wants to know how do you prepare for parole? Can you practice the psych evals?
Man, that question could take up
yeah, that's a whole nother session, but for sure we can definitely discuss, because that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to do, that for sure, on one of these one of our sessions.
Yeah, well the thing is, look, we can kind of get into it, and it doesn't really take away from the things that we're talking about right now, right? The fact of the matter is, preparing for parole, the biggest thing that you need to do to prepare for parole is be real about your change.
Yeah,
100%.
Transform yourself. Don't just change.
100%. And the self-evaluation is what you need to start with. You need to really look inward and decide, okay, I've got this far. I was able to put the big 5 in my rearview mirror. That's behind me. But that doesn't mean that suddenly you're not, we're out of the game now. But how does all those years of warped thinking, corrupted ideology, how is that just going to disappear overnight? It's not. You can stay away from those things that that are obvious, but it's hard to think about. It's hard to really think about how bad you were, man, how messed up you were. So when you're on that path, this is the first thing that you have to do, is you need to figure out why you're doing these things in the first place, why you felt it was okay to,
how you became the person that could make those kind of
commit those crimes. How did somebody like Jesse and I, you see the people that have seen us on the video call, it wasn't the best video call. There was a lot of problems and stuff, but we don't look like your standard killers and whatnot. We don't got these big old whips and stuff like that. We're just regular dudes. So how do people like us, right? We're goofy, we joke around a lot, we get our heart broke. How do people like us become capable of taking somebody else's life? That's how you prepare for parole. You have to start answering those questions one at a time. And once you get there and you can start answering those questions, yeah, we talk, we ask each other the hard questions. What are your positive factors? What made me capable of committing a murder? Well, I know for a fact I was a violent gang member and drug dealer who cared more about my status and reputation and addiction than I did human life. Period. And I know that that's what I was before. That's not who I am today. I'm everything but that today. I'm so much more now. But we also have to figure out, okay, well, what is it in our life that's causing us dissonance, causing us tension, causing us pain? Who are we continuing to hurt today? Because maybe we've woken up and we realize, hey, we're something's not right in our lives. you know, and that right there is how you maintain recovery.
Yep. And I think that's, like I said, that's a good fork for the conversation. You know, as we're talking about, you know, forks in the road and making decisions, you know, and some of them are life-changing, some of them are life-altering, some of them affect many other people, you know, some of them, and I can give you an example. You asked if I can recognize, you know, when I'm at a fork in the road, you know, and for those who have been listening to the podcast from the beginning, may or may not recall, you know, just recently I came to a fork in the road. Well, it's not recently. It's been a long time coming. I've been traveling down this road that was just kind of like, okay, you know what, this doesn't feel right. You know, something just not. It's not like how Dave just put it. You know, how do you know? But you know, when you get to a point in your recovery when you feel, okay, what is hindering my growth? What is you know, what is there anything getting in the way of what I'm doing? Is there anything that doesn't feel right, doesn't align with, you know, with what I'm saying or what I'm doing or how I'm feeling, you know, all those things. And like I said, so for those of you that have been listening to the podcast from the very beginning, may or may not recall my story, you know, and I had mentioned in there that, you know, that I had been married for a long time, you know, and you know, the woman that I was married to, you know, she was critical in me changing my life. She played a big part in changing my life. She played a big part in the dysfunction of my life as well. But she played a big part in changing my life, you know. And for the first 2 years of my recovery, you know, I did everything that I could to try to just say, hey, you know what, Lynn, I want to try to be a better person for this individual. I want to try to be, you know, who I need to be, who they need me to be, you know, as a husband and a father and a brother and a sister, you know, everything I need to be to all my siblings and everybody along the way, you know. And so, but I came to a point, you know, a while back that you know, I reached this fork in the road that said, okay, you know what, there's something here that's just not aligning with me. There's something here that I just don't feel is right for me and what I'm doing now, you know, and I
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it, you know, because when you've been in prison as long as I have and you know, the only constant that you've ever had, you know, the whole time I've been, you know, for at least for the last 16 years, was a certain person or, you know, a certain element. You know, it's a scary thing to think, okay, well, how you know, how could I do this without that? You know, but that was also part of why it wasn't aligning with what I was doing, because I didn't like, you know, I didn't like being so reliant on somebody else. I didn't feel that was healthy to my growth. I didn't like being codependent. I didn't like certain aspects of that, you know, and so I got to a fork in the road and I said, okay, do I carry on with this charade or do I carry on with this, you know, where I know I'm not happy, you know, I know that this is not working for me. I know that there's just certain aspects that just I'm not going to be able to get through this if I continue on this, or you know, and like how Jessica said, you know, there's dudes in here that just on some bullshit and this and that, you know, and I could have easily went about my bullshit and, you know, like, you know, I'll figure this out when I get out of prison or all this or all that, you know, but it wasn't aligning with who I was, you know. And so I got to that fork in the road, and I had to make a big boy decision. I had to say, okay, you know what, this is what I'm going to do, you know. And I had asked, you know, my wife in 16 years for a divorce, you know. And like I said, it was. I feel that it was a while coming, you know. I just didn't know how or what it was. Again, I didn't know what to do, but ultimately you get to that fork in the road, and you have to say, hey, you know what, this is what I'm doing. This is, you know, my life is going in a different direction, and that's just the reality, you know. And I can't keep myself, you know, prisoner to something that I just don't feel that, you know, if my heart's not here, you know, you deserve to do something, you know. I've held you hostage and brought you through this bullshit for so long. You know what I mean? I feel that you're entitled to move on with your life and find somebody who can, you know, love you the way you deserve to be loved. And I feel that I have to do what I have to do. I have to move on with my life and do what's necessary for me so that I can get out of prison and grow and do what I got to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm going to go out there after being incarcerated for 25 years, and the idea of getting out of prison and being 100% reliant on somebody else is a scary thing. It's not healthy to anybody in my circumstances, in my situation, So I got to that fork in the road, and I had to make that decision.
The thing is, what I was trying to, I've been there for you as much as I can, but these decisions have to come from you.
Right.
They're nothing where I can just. If you ask me my opinion on it, I can give you. I'm gonna give a healthy response. And one thing that I was able to reiterate to you over and over again is, remember, this is a decision that's coming from you.
Right.
It's not about what's right for her.
Right.
It's about what's right for you. This is not. You're not going to continue to make choices based on selfish. Maybe coming from a selfish place. You're not going to hang on to things or people.
Right.
When you know that maybe it's not right for you. Right. And I respected your decision because you're not getting out to the streets and dogging her out. You're not going to get out and be like, okay, well, you got me this far. Now maybe we should have a conversation.
Right.
It's over. You still have time. You still go to board in a couple of years. You're going to do this time on your own. And that's a hard thing to do. You made the decision. I felt like maybe you waited a little too long.
Well, yeah, that was something you had been pointing out to me. I mean, I had known, but you had seen aspects that for the past 6 months.
And I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying that. Oh, you waited too long. Like I was encouraging you to do it.
Right.
I'm just saying that you knew that it was time to have a discussion. To ask for the divorce, and you went ahead and you let a little bit more time pass anyway.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you don't want to hurt her.
No.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
That's why I think it was last week or the week before. My wife heard it. She's like, well, you can tell I was a little hesitant when you had to step away from for a while. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, you stepped away, and I kind of held down the fort. I couldn't do it with James because James was canceled over something he did with Kanye West. But but it was because that's what you were dealing with, and all I can do is be there to support you as your friend and make sure that you're okay.
Right.
I don't know her, but I feel for I feel it's a marriage. Yeah, of course I feel sadness that things got to this point, but I know that you made a healthy decision. You had to do what you had to do, and you didn't let it go on any further.
Right.
And it's not easy, man.
It's scary because of all the components, the kids and the family and the this and that.
Yeah.
But like you said before, I would have allowed other components to determine or dictate my decision.
Or just make an irresponsible decision and just say, hey, maybe I can make this work out there when I get out there.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's not responsible. That's not responsible thinking. That's leaving too many what ifs in the air.
Right.
What if I don't? What if it doesn't work out?
Yeah.
What if it does? What if it doesn't? That's not how you get out of prison after doing over 20 years. You're going to be at 25 years?
5 years.
Yeah, by the time you get out, by the time you go to board and you get out, and the thing is that that's not how you make decisions like that. Public safety.
Right.
It not on things on those decisions being made in a healthy and responsible way.
Right.
So yeah, I'm happy that you were able to get it out there. I'm happy that you were able to share that and to show, hey, look, we're real people too. I'm happily married. I love my wife. I love my wife to death, and she's the most beautiful woman that I've ever encountered. But my marriage is my marriage. Your situation is your situation.
Right.
Yours has come to a close.
And it goes back to that fork in the road. And the guys here that do know my situation, that it's talking, they're all like, man, I don't know how you did it. But they're thinking from a self-preservation standpoint.
Yeah,
they're thinking from a selfish standpoint. Oh,
yeah,
man.
they're not in. I'm not in your relationship.
Right.
They're not in your relationship. I can't tell you, hey, what it's like to whisper sweet nothings into her ears and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? We're not in your relationship. All I do is to be there for you. That's it. That's all we can do. Be there for you. If you ask me my opinion, I'm gonna give you advice from my perspective.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
All I can think about is my marriage, and I can try to put myself in your shoes, but I'm not in your shoes in that regard,
And like you said, your only responsibility is to ensure that I'm in a healthy place.
They're okay. They're okay, and if everything goes bad, I'm there to help you pick up the pieces and be there for you to make sure that you don't do anything dumb, just like you'll be there for me, so I don't make bad choices. This shit is just not right in my life.
Right.
Right. This is what we do for each other.
And that just becomes a door, a chapter in you.
Was that James about to say something? No, I'm gonna call back, James.
All right, yeah, I'm already here. All right, guys. So right now, when they come back, I'm gonna go ahead and ask them the question right there from Jessica. She's asking why divorce, and let me see what else is on here. Have you guys ever encountered ghosts? Oh yeah, definitely. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting one. I wouldn't want to be in prison. Not only do you have to worry about getting stabbed, now you have to worry about ghosts. Definitely not a good time. There's some buzzy noise on my I think I know what it is. There we go. All right, disconnected a cable. There was a cable here that was
Esta es Global Talent. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have
This call is now being
will not
recorded.
be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Talent.
Hello.
Hello, James.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I got 2 questions from Jessica here. The first one is she wants to know why divorce, and the second question is going to be, do you identify as Hispanic, and how does your identity help you in dealing with forks in the road?
Look, as far as David goes, look, I'm pretty mixed up.
He's a hot bag of madness.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. So just the fact that as far as me identifying as Hispanic, like I'm pretty sure I'm Mexican. I identify as Jewish. Yeah. So anyway, what did you say again?
Yeah. So I identify as Hispanic, and as far as how that helps with my fork in the road, when I reach forks in the road, I can tell you this much: cultural influences in the past have played big parts in decisions that I've made when I get to fork in the road, because I had that Mexican machismo standpoint. I thrived on toxic masculinity. Everything I did was aggressive and arrogant and just ignorant. You know what I mean? And so, and I believe part of that came from a work perspective of my culture and how I identified as a Mexican. This is what it is. This is how we do what we do. Our women are this to us. We're the dominant one in the relationship. That's cultural influences. And that has played a part in a lot of my forks in the road in the past, and not just dealing with women, but dealing with dudes. We never showed no emotion, never showed no feeling, never identified anything other than my anger. And you're going to respect me, and these are all things that I felt entitled to. And to be honest with you, being in prison, being a part of the prison gang and being like that, I felt that straight up one of the things I identified as my race was superior to everybody else's. Yeah. And that played a major part when I got to forks in the road and made horrible choices, because I felt entitled through my race and who I felt we were in here, and the respect and the power that we possess.
It's a dominant, like, yeah, because all bullshit aside, I'm a Lopez, we viewed in here that the Mexicans we ran shit in here.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
being a person of color. Is that how we say it now, Jess?
I'm assuming. I don't know.
I really don't think of it much as like, okay, well, I'm making strides as a Mexican, I'm making strides as a Hispanic, I'm making strides as an individual. Exactly. I'm a person who, I'm a person that needs to.
I'm trying to uplift my people. I'm trying to bring a different perspective, and that's why I do things like this podcast, because I don't want people to see me as some ignorant cholo gangbanger follow, young raza that's just done some bullshit, I want everybody to see, like, straight up, my gente, we get educated. We handling our business. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing here.
Students.
But I don't feel that I'm any better than anybody else either. Some of my best friends in here are black. Some of my best friends in here are white. So I don't compartmentalize myself by race anymore as I used to. Of course, I still have certain aspects of my heritage that are going to, stick with me and resonate with me when I see it in other people. But the reality is I see the good in everybody, regardless of their skin color, regardless of their background, their ethnicity, the demographic that they grew up in, things like that, So I now when I get to them fork in the roads, who I identify and how I identify, it doesn't play very much a part in it. You know what I mean? It's really what plays a part in how I make my decision when I get to that fork in the road is my character and who I am as a man, who I am as an individual, and and that's just the reality of it. Because I realize that kind of thinking is what has separated myself from so many people and so many opportunities in here. I'm Braza, I'm this, I'm that, and and you get to prisons and you'll see it. You go to prisons like High Desert to Hatchby where there's a bunch of hillbilly cops, and being brown is not a good thing. Yeah. You get to prisons right here by the border, and being brown, other races are getting treated bad.
We're down here by Mexico. We're down here
Mexicali right here. We get the newspaper.
Yep. Yeah, we watch the Mexicali channels and stuff like that on the TV, and it's just. This is an asset, being brown over here.
Yep. No, it is. I could say that for sure, that it being raza right here in this prison, it definitely has its perks, just because that's how they identify. Not most of the staff here.
Culturally, we warped our culture a lot. We were the people that we wanted to represent raza in like by wearing big clothes, by wearing them jerseys and shooting motherfuckers and stuff like that. And it's like,
but really we were bringing down the value.
We were bringing down the value, man. We were corrupting the neighborhoods. We were getting people on drugs. And it's just we have to really, really evaluate ourselves as individuals. Yeah. First and foremost, who we are as people individually.
Those people who are to identify Hispanic but come from a different background, like, you see the pride that they take in representing what they do. Most of those people migrated here from another country for a better life, and they took advantage of the opportunities that this country gave us. People like us were
of what actually working Mexican Americans look like.
Right.
She asked a great question about why divorce.
Why divorce, right? So I mean, I think when you're not in love, and you just don't feel that there's so much of your past life tied to a relationship. There's so many components, and when being in a relationship keeps you shackled to so much of your past shame and your past guilt, and just certain aspects of the relationship just don't work for you anymore. And again, I'm getting out of prison after 25 years, and the reality of it was, I was a kid when I came in here. Even though I was 21 years old when I got busted, I was still a kid. I still thought the same way at 21 as I did when I was 15, the same way I did when I was 39. I didn't begin to start growing up. I was caught up in Arrested Development for 30 years, and I didn't start growing up and maturing until the last few years, within the last 4 years. And so it's like sometimes you just outgrow a relationship, and it's crazy to think of that when you have a family and there's so many other components to that relationship. But the divorce felt fair, felt like the right thing to do, for myself, and I feel for the other individual.
Would you say that you got married for the wrong reasons?
I think that's true. I think that when I
doesn't take away from her, and I don't want to say anything bad about her. I don't maybe you married a person for the wrong reasons.
100%.
But she's a good person.
That person brought a light into my life in a place that was so dark for me, and I was just grasping. I never thought I was doing life without the possibility of parole before. I never thought I was going to walk out of this place, and I was being selfish when I made that decision. And unfortunately, like I said, we have a family, and there's so many other components to that relationship. But
Three-way llamada.
What the? See, the thing is with my wife, right? My wife, I melt every time she walks in the room, or every time I see her. That's somebody like I couldn't imagine my life without my wife. We married each other because we felt that it was there. My wife made sure that I was clean before we got married. Because she had to find out for herself if she could even be in a relationship with somebody that's in prison. And she's not from the system. She's not. My wife has always been separate from the gangs. I met my wife in like ordinary society. She made me believe in myself, and I know that you started to believe in yourself in your marriage, but you were as far along as you've come. Fix those components.
right.
Those components are always going to be missing, and I've told you that. Can you fix the issues that are broken?
Right.
I don't believe in divorce. I just don't. But I also don't believe in dysfunction. If you have a dysfunction in your life, one of them, look, if you have both of these elements, two variables, right? Dysfunction in marriage.
Yeah.
As far as your
They don't align
system,
with each other.
well, as far as your belief system, you believe in the institution of marriage, but you also believe in in a healthy lifestyle, and not living in your dysfunctions. You have to make a decision eventually, and it's an easier choice to know, hey, you're not gonna victimize her by continuing to stay married when you're feeling a certain way.
Right.
And you're gonna, I'm excited for you for your future because I want you to find what I found. Maybe you already have. But that's that's your business.
That's your business.
And that's the thing. So I respect your decision. It's hard to see it because I'm so close to it.
Right.
Being I sleep right there.
Yeah. 5 feet away
I
from
sleep 5 feet away, so I see the pain in your eyes. I see the uncertainty in your eyes. I see the fear that maybe, it's not that you made the wrong decision, because I know you didn't, and you didn't. But yeah, it's a hard thing to watch a friend battle with so many things, because you don't want to hurt nobody.
No.
You don't want to hurt nobody across the board. You're done hurting people. The hurting people days are over.
100%.
And that's the only thing that I see. It's like, damn, how do you maneuver around without hurting anybody, without hurting her, But at the end of the day, man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
What do we got here? We got some cookie wheels under the door.
Shot time.
Yep. These look good. I wonder where they came from. But I hope that Jesse was able to answer that question, why divorce? That's something that only he can answer. We try to be as transparent as we can with the people that are listening to this, to this channel.
Without the divorce, I believe that I was holding myself back from the next step in my life, and the next, it was just.
I think without the divorce, you were gonna hurt a great woman because you guys weren't.
I can't expect somebody else to completely circulate their life around mine, especially when I know that my life is going in a different direction. I'm leaving to another city when I get out of prison. I'm going to establish myself as a man before I can be anything else. I've never been a man. I was talking about this the other day in group. There is no men in prison. Like the reality is, because a real man is out there on the streets taking care of his kids, taking care of his family, handling his responsibility. There's been men being built in prison. What we're doing right now, we're establishing ourselves and becoming men. But the truth about it is,
le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
The life we've lived in here has been very immature and very, childlike, and so. For me, it was like, in order to become the person that I want to be, it was a necessary, decision that I had to make when I got to that fork in the road,
Hey, I hope you're running over to the mic, James.
I'm already here. I'm eating a piece of cake. Good news.
Yeah.
Good news.
It's gonna cut off right now. Yeah.
Both of the wires are run. We're good to go.
I think both of the wires are ran?
Yeah, ran.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono.
All right, so the walls are in the wire, or the wires are in the wall. Now all I gotta do now is I gotta make some brackets so I can mount the phones on the wall, and connect the boxes, and we'll be good to go. So hopefully I'll be able to debut this upcoming week, and that's what I'm aiming for. But it's not it's a soft date. I can't put that type of pressure on me right now. I just got too much. I got too much going on. But I'm able to pull it off. I'll at least share like a short with you guys.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
I lost you for a second.
Nah, we're on. So we're making some great progress on it, and I can't wait to show you guys. You guys might think I'm a little bit off the walls, but that's just the way I run my program over here. Oh, I think we might have lost him there.
Show Tijuana Jackson. Yours?
Nah, it went silent for a moment.
Oh, you ever seen that show Tijuana Jackson?
Nah.
A motivational speaker.
I haven't.
Look, you ever get a chance? Google that fool. It's called Tijuana Jackson, a motivational speaker with a pan. It's a true story. That shit is hilarious, fool. One of the funniest shows, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, right? And it's true though. It's a real story about this dude in Florida who's done time, and his whole goal was to become a motivational speaker when he got out. But it's funny as hell because at his mom's house he has a metal toilet, like and a prison phone.
Yeah.
A metal toilet and a prison phone set up in his sister's room, and his sister's right there using it, and he's like, damn, close the door, he's stinking up the whole pad. It's just crazy. The movie's hilarious. You got to check it out, though. But that's how you are right there. Now you got to just get a metal toilet. You got the prison phone on the wall already.
I looked them up. They're too expensive. The toilets, that's out of my budget.
What the? Come on, James.
Man,
I would install it right in your kitchen too, so you know how it. You know,
now you would know how we're living with the toilet in our kitchen.
put it right in your kitchen, right next to your freaking sink.
So,
right next to your dining table, or put it in your room.
So they're asking me about Gary. So Gary just sent me a message saying that the tablets are down. We had originally set up for a video chat, but I guess for whatever reason something might be going on their end over there where they shut down the terminal. So I asked him to call me back in about 15-20 minutes. So this is gonna be our last call for the night, just to give you guys the heads up.
Fire.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, those are the best ones. Yeah, I was telling them.
Hey, we're eating some cookie wheels right now. We're eating some cookie wheels.
The homie made some cookie wheels that taste like banana split.
Yeah, they're amazing, man. But yeah, no, it's cool, man. I'm glad that we got to do this, man, today. You know,
and Gary was supposed to come on and kind of do a follow up because I talked to Gary earlier. We were out there on the softball field. We're doing drafting for the softball league, and Gary was out there. Come to find out, Gary's actually a sleeper on the softball field. He actually shoots that stuff, but he's never out there playing. Nobody ever would have known if we wouldn't have started this league, and actually he got recruited. So he was out there, and we were actually talking about, you know, discussing this fork in the road and just basically, you know, kind of doing the little disclaimer because none of us want to compromise, you know, the podcast or our freedom for that matter. You know what I mean? No, we don't want anybody to think that there's other people making the same kind of decisions, and so he was supposed to call in and follow up on the fork in the road and basically do, you know, talk about how he's been just, you know, had some forks in the road recently, you know, or in the past, you know, and he can understand. The situation, it was high risk. It was, you know, and he made a bad decision, you know. And Gary has been in those kind of situations too, and that's why he himself had his parole taken from him. You know, he was granted and found suitable, and they took. Vestiges of this criminal thinking that we can't even identify, and that's why the board requires that we dig so deep. You know, that's why sometimes, you know, there's some aspects, you know, there's family, there's relationships, there's females, there's certain things that are blind spots for us in our criminal thinking. You know, and you know, like I said, so Gary would have been able to elaborate. You know, I don't know if he's gonna, you know, be able to still come on and discuss the fork in the road or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But
maybe next time, the next session, we can do we can go in depth about what it is to prepare for board. What is it? Yeah, because it's a lot. You know, that question is it's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And like she asked about, Jessica asked about the psyche valve, and you know, anybody here can attest to how sincere and how genuine my change is, especially those like Dave who's known me since I was a kid. You know, can truly talk about the turnaround that I've done in my life, and I was prepared, not as prepared as I could have been when I went for my psyche eval, but I still got a high psyche eval because I was not so far removed from my criminal past. You know, I had actually just went to court and actually picked up more time for my last shoe, and there was just certain aspects that the commission, that the psych was like, look, man, I see you doing great things, and I clearly can hear it in your conversation. You've been able to articulate your insight and your understanding and your remorse and your responsibility. However, because your change is so recent, that's going to be a hard obstacle for us to get over, you know. And I was given a high psyche eval. Because of that high psyche eval, I'm not going back to board this year, you know. And so there's a lot of components to go into being prepared for the psyche eval, you know. And a psyche eval is like a pregame to the board. You know, it's like a layup to the board process. You know, whatever they don't cover in the psych eval, they're going to cover in the board hearing. You know, so you want to be as prepared as you can be for the psych and get whatever you can on document, because the commissioners are going to read your psych eval, and they're basically going to base their decision a lot on what the psych has to say about you and his. Because the psych eval is to determine whether or not you pose an unreasonable risk for future violence, you know. And so
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
we can talk about preparing for parole and preparing for the psych eval, because I believe that's important.
Yeah, we could even ask each other some questions.
Yep.
We're some board questions, and I think that would be great because, in a sense, like when you're asked those questions, you're asked able to tell you earlier, why did you kill this person? Why did you do it? You know, what are your causative factors? Violent criminal who cared more about my status and reputation and addiction than I did about human life. That's not easy to say. that's what I was. That's the truth. You know, does that mean that I'm not worthy of ever going home? Well, that's not for me to determine.
Right.
You know, that's left to the professionals.
All you can do is show them who you are today and hope that they see in you what you see in yourself now.
I cannot demand redemption. I can't demand forgiveness.
No.
All I can do is show them who I am today. How do we know that you're not the same person that you were then? Well, I have a pattern of consistency. Just like I had a pattern of destruction, I have a pattern of consistency. I didn't hesitate to hurt people in the system.
Yeah.
I grew up in the shoe. I didn't care. It's obvious that I care now. How is it obvious? Because I have over 6 years of clean time. I couldn't go 6 months before. I'm putting in the work. Do you think nothing's come up in 6 years that would have under prison pretenses allowed me to harm somebody? Of course. In prison, you can come up with a million reasons to get people. Obvious. Yeah, I felt threatened in the last 6 years. What do I do when I feel threatened? In the past, I used to commit violence. Violence was safety to me. I connected the two. I don't do that today. When I feel threatened, guess what? I get myself out of harm's way. I come into a safe place and I talk to people about what I'm thinking in my head. Because I know that violence is not the answer no more. That's the difference between me now and who I was then. The same thing with Jesse. I would get pissed off all the time. Anger's a natural emotion.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with being angry as long as your anger is coming from a healthy place. What's the root of all anger?
As long as how you deal with that anger is coming from a healthy place.
That's it. Yeah. What the hell?
Again?
So what they're saying now, we got the
Okay.
So they're not going to run the 10 yard right now because they're out there patrolling the roofs.
Yeah.
What's the plural for roof? Roofs?
Roofs? Yeah, patrolling the roofs? Roofs? I don't know.
Yeah, see?
They're the literary specialist here. I had to have Dave edit my psychology paper today. That's how little I know about whether it's roof. How about you write this super tiny for me? Make sure you get all the dead names on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I want every single person get maximum destruction out of this week.
Yeah. I only have a tiny 1 inch by 1 inch piece of paper. I want all the names on there.
No, but this is because we've got other people that are coming on and the tablets have been acting up. for me, I just want to give a shout out to to my beautiful wife and to to all of the listeners who are with us every week.
I appreciate Jessica chiming in and asking all those questions. It makes the process a lot easier. It gives us something to, conversate about, and if we can enlighten you in any way or anybody else that's listening, we appreciate that. Because that's what this is about. We're trying to take a message. We're trying to show people, a different, picture of prison.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And the process of how we got to where we're at today, it wasn't overnight. It hasn't been easy. Every day I'm faced with the fork in the road. Every day I have to get up and make a conscious decision to make the right decision and continue in my sobriety, continue in my recovery, continue in my education, continue in my spiritual principle development. There's so many forks in the road every day. I make a conscious decision every day to do the right thing. So if hopefully we can continue to utilize this podcast to share that journey with all the listeners, all the way up until it's our time to walk out this door, and I want to send a shout out to SoCal Fish Slayer. I don't know if
today we don't know what it is. We're worried.
Yeah, we haven't heard from you today. We're worried about you. Good looking out on the bet with ICEMAN.
Yep.
Dave was rooting for you and the KC just because he's like, all right, well, I got KC, so we were up in here and we're mad dogging each other. He's standing. It was a Mexican standoff. He's on one side of the cell, I'm on the other side.
I had my '87 jersey on for Taylor Swift.
Yeah. He had his Taylor Swift jersey on.
Yeah, I was taking a stance, Jesse.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was a great game. I enjoyed it. It was actually a fun game. I wanted to see Frisco do their thing, but and they did their thing. Just because they didn't come out victoriously in the end, they still did their stuff.
So their tablet just cut out. It's been doing that. It did that a few times throughout their conversation. Hopefully it comes back in. There's about 2 minutes, and I know some of you guys.
What?
Okay, it's back. Well, you guys came back in, but it went back out again. What the what? Anyhow, let me see here. So it looks like we lost their
Le
audio.
queda un restante de 60 segundos.
So hopefully, they come back in the next minute or so. Anyhow, so while we wait for them, I just sent Gary a message. I asked him to call me in about 20 minutes. Hopefully, that was about 10 minutes ago. So hopefully, he calls me back in about 10 minutes. If he does, then we'll go ahead and do a live. We were originally scheduled to do a video visit, like I mentioned earlier on, but unfortunately, something happened where they shut down the program, and those video visits are not taking place anymore. So I know I have Gary coming on, and then followed by Gary, I believe Javier is gonna be calling me. So hopefully, as long as their service is working, then we'll go ahead and go through, and run these streams, these next two streams. They're not gonna be as long as this one, just because I've been pretty much on and off with these calls today. Tomorrow I'm gonna be working, and then right now I actually have to run to Home Depot before they close and pick up some material to have our floor installed tomorrow. So I gotta double check, make sure that I'm closed before I run out, because my wife would definitely be upset, and probably hear a comment about how I got my priorities mixed up. So anyhow, I do appreciate Jesse and David coming on and almost spending 2 hours with us, and sharing their point of views. And with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the stream to wait for Gary's call, and as soon as he calls me, then I'll go ahead and relaunch another stream. And like I say around here, life's like a candle. Oh, here, let's see. It's Gary. Let's see here. Oops. Oh shit. Hold on. All right, guys. So like I say, life's like a candle. Once you blow it, it's lights out. And with that, I'm out. Have a good night. Hello, Carlos. Hello.